Wait 1 second.
Okay.
Wait 1 second. Okay, I'll phrase it. I'll kind of tee up. Sound good?
Okay. Yeah.
And then when we're done with this, just hang out for a second because it'll take a little bit to upload it. It only takes like 20 seconds, but. All right, so talk to me about the difference between beet powder, which I take every morning and have for years, and arginine. As far as what do you think is more beneficial? Both of them are going to boost nitric oxide. And also, let's go into, why would you be interested in boosting your nitric oxide?
Okay. So we'll start with arginine because that's probably more known in the sports performance world. So arginine, think of arginine as something that's going to relax muscles around veins, capillaries, and arteries. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So those are called smooth muscles. Those muscles that surround those blood flow pathways are smooth muscles. So if I can relax those through intensity, we clench them, right? And then they constrict, right? So we're not getting adequate oxygenation of blood and nutrient dense blood to athletic areas that we want to perform. Okay. So if I can relax those smooth muscles, then they can dilate and I can get all that nutrient dense blood. I can pull lactic acid. I can move nutrients because the pathway is larger. And those muscles surrounding are constricting on that hose. So arginine assists in that. But there's a couple different steps for arginine to make or be the byproduct of nitric oxide. So it has to look for a nitrogen, an oxygen, which inevitably is synthesizes into arginine. So that's why it's an amino acid looking for that complete chain. So that gets us into beet powder. Beet powder is full of a lot of things, but beet powder is predominantly for sports performance is two things, right? It's already full of nitrites. So it has those nitrates that nitrogen doesn't have to be produced from. So that chemical, we'll call it a chemical reaction, has already occurred when you consume beets because it has nitrates. So we don't have that. We're skipping a step to get to nitric oxide production. So beets inherently make that smooth muscle relaxation and those pathways able to dilate, we'll say faster and or more efficiently. So they do the same thing with their nitrates, but we potentially can get there faster through high levels of beet consumption because of the nitrate amount. Does that make sense?
Got it. That definitely makes sense. So something like this, how many servings of beets am I getting by taking a powder like this?
That's every scoop of that is a half of a whole beet. And that's all they do. That's why I picked that company is because all they do is dry them. They don't manipulate the beet itself and they just put them in a container. So you're getting a plethora of that. They did a study, it was like a half a liter of just straight beet powder for cyclist-based athletes. This is before one of the Olympics in the last 8 years. They gave them a half a liter of just beet powder every day before training. That's all that they gave them. That was the only difference. And their VO2 max and their lactate threshold in combination went up over 16%.
That's incredible.
So just because of taking a half a liter of beet powder. So, I mean, that's 16%. We're not all Olympic athletes, but can you imagine
that's huge.
5%?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Incredible.
So, the other thing that we get from on the beet side is it's betaine, but it's trimethylglycine, and trimethylglycine assists with the nitric oxide production as well, but it's going to help with the transport of nutrient. So it has double effect. So it has the betaine and the nitrate. So when we talk about just comparing the two, arginine is just arginine. beets have additional, they have additional benefits. So like I don't want to use the term prescribing, but what we're recommending to people is beets in the morning, right? Like beets in the morning with your daily cocktail. And then you potentially using, if you wanted to, arginine in and around your training. So it can be a training supplement. But every day, if we're increasing lactic acid threshold through betaine, we're increasing the arginine or the nitrates in our blood. Oxygenated exchange is just increasing on a daily basis, which health benefits, hormone benefits, lactate threshold benefits, just whether you're 90 years old or an athlete, are just positive oxygenated blood perfusion for hormone and just general health, skin, just general health is awesome.
Yeah. So is this something that will boost your VO2 max even without doing high intensity training? Because there's been a lot of studies that have been coming out lately about VO2 max and its correlation to longevity. So I mean, is it just because it's helping you work out harder that it's going to boost your VO2 max?
Good question. So by taking, we'll say, arginine and or beet powder in combination, your VO2 max you're just going to increase. If we sit on the couch and drink beet powder, our VO2 max isn't going to climb.
Have to work out.
Right? I wish it would. We have to put exercise load on lung, oxygenated exchange, those systems to fire into work to increase that. But let's call it, for this conversation, let's say that the roadblocks, the hurdles, the struggle isn't as bad. The suck doesn't suck as much as it did.
Doesn't burn as much. Doesn't burn as much, so you can go harder.
You don't get that always so hard on your lungs. You don't have that tight chest feeling potentially. Like you just sucked in cold air. Like a lot of those things will happen. You can't stop them, but you're pushing them off to either happen later or not so severe. And if you train your body to manage those pain thresholds, so carnosine, that lactic acid, it's been shown, if we like carnosine, beta alanine, I know we're getting on a different topic, but we're almost dulling, it's been proven, dulling that response. So lactic acid hurts us. That's why our body hurts in activity, right? Beta alanine, citrulline, arginine, beet powder, all of these things that kind of embody this nitric oxide and blood flow production and systematic approach. It's been proven if we can keep those at bay, it almost dulls that pain response. And if that pain response is what causes us to stop or slow down, it's not that our lungs can't do it, our muscles can't fire, our output isn't there, our training isn't there. It's the fact that our systemic response to pain is to stop putting ourselves through pain, right? So I'm not going to keep doing this if it hurts. And that's the difference between people and athletes and all of these, scenarios. But by increasing blood flow through some of these natural supplements, and I can push off that pain to make it 10% less, 2% less, or happen later, then my output goes up because I don't hurt. And then I can achieve what my lungs and my training and all that has led me to be and to accomplish. So it hits it from a couple different heads, mentally and physically. So
when do you recommend to take it? When are you going to see the benefits after putting a scoop in water?
I mean, I think I can speak for myself. I can speak for others in conversation that I've trained athletes, and you chime in, right? Like, I can drink beet powder on every morning and I feel like I am more open. Like I can, the pathway of breathing just feels better to me. Whether that's placebo or not, I don't know, but I can feel it when I do and I don't consume it. I know that you don't build a tolerance to arginine and beet powders and betaine and nitrates. They're going to continue to do what they're going to do. It's not like caffeine. So if it's working today, it's going to work 6 months from now. It's the consistent use of it. So you're going to see the system and body benefits day one. Whether you can have the awareness to tap into that and to push that and to get into that rhythm is yet to be seen, whether that's a week, a month, or a year, right? But it's happening inside of you whether you utilize it or not. Yeah, you're creating nitric oxide more efficiently when you consume arginine and or just straight beta alanine, or sorry, beetroot, excuse me. And by consuming those things, your nitric oxide production is greater. And the benefits of that are happening as soon as you ingest and put it in your mouth. When would you do it? From a beet powder perspective, I would do it as a pre-workout or before your training. If you're going to be coupling both, like if you train like yourself twice a day, like myself, I train 1 to 1.5 times a day. But I don't have the routine of training at the same time every day due to life. So I will start my day with beet powder because it's good for GI and a bunch of different things. It kind of gives me a natural pick-me-up as well. And then I can focus on arginine pre-training when I'm ready to go. So 20 to 30 minutes, arginine comes in powder or pill. I would suggest you can get more bang for your buck with powders. That's just in anything. It's got to take a lot of pills to get gram dosing, whereas you can take a smaller scoop and not have to capsulate 3, 4, 5, 7 pills. I would take it 20 to 30-ish minutes before training if that's how you're going to utilize arginine or beet powder. And then if not, I would just put beet powder in the first half of your day as you wake. So
cool. Yeah, my process is having it in the morning before my first workout, and then I typically do another scoop of beet powder as well before my afternoon workout. I'll do it in a smoothie for that round. And I mean, I've been taking it for so long, it's difficult to say I have any kind of sensation with it, like beta alanine, where I always have a sensation. But there's just so many studies like the one you mentioned about the cyclists of 16%. I mean, that's incredible for endurance athletes.
I mean, if you're into health and wellness and you're into performance optimization, which I think we all are on this podcast, like just straight performance optimization, you would be doing yourself a disservice, I think, by not at least adding beet powder into your day. I'm not even saying the one that we use or this brand or whatever, but just general
Beets.
health. It's probably less than $1 a day, and the benefits are noticeable.
Yep.
Which is hard to say about the supplement industry as a whole.
Yep. Yeah. So this is PA7. This is something you highly recommended to me. Let's talk about this because this I've gotten a lot of questions on this, and I feel like people are really interested in what PA7 is and what it's doing.
PA7 is I would say new to the supplement world. Dr. Jacob Wilson got his research published medically, which is unheard of, 1, for a supplement, and 2, in this pill PA7 muscle optimization category through the University of Tampa is where his lab is and he trains. So my point is the efficacy in the studies and the background is there. I suggest looking it up. 1, because it's not cheap, and 2, because it's really cool cross-sectional strength increases and the amount of recovery it couples. I mean, professionals like in our industry of supplementation and performance are coining this like hormonal steroidal type responses to the body with having nothing to do with hormones. So if taken correctly and timely, it's legit. So PA7, we could get into deep science with this, and this, if anybody has questions, let me know. But let's think of PA7. I mean, very simply, it is a signaler, right? So it is signaling a metabolic response through what's called the mTOR pathway. We all have the mTOR pathway in us. Think of it like creatine, Krebs cycle, ATP, muscle energy, mTOR, PA7, recovery, and muscle growth. Okay, so we have pathways. And think of phosphatidic acid. We make it in this, and think of this is at the cellular level, not like kidney, liver, stomach level. This is at every little cell. And the cells that we're talking about more specifically and more importantly as it pertains to training and performance is your muscle cells. So phosphatidic acid, let's say you have a dial, and you have a dial 1 through 10. And that dial cranks up as you start dialing in your nutrition, your sleep, your hydration, your performance, your supplementation. And all of a sudden you're like, man, I'm doing everything pretty on point. My dial's at like an 8.5 out of 10, like 9, pushing 9. That PA7 goes in and starts flipping switches and opening up that pathway. So things from an 8.5 go to 9, 9.5, 10, and we're optimizing all amino acids, but specifically leucine, isoleucine, and valine. So those 3 amino acids are the most abundantly used for skeletal muscle function and repair. Okay? We all understand that. So if I can move those from point A to point B, and that pathway is wide, open, dials cranked, flip, all my switches are flipped, and I can move those amino acids to repair and rebuild soft tissue more efficiently, it's not that I can bench 300 pounds tomorrow. It's that Eric, that Brian, that Susie can bench and output and run and train hard, like at an efficiency and at a repair level of like a 9 and a 9.5 every day. So if you could train, you're optimally at like a 95%, 2 trainings a day for 6 months and not feel broken down and not feel like you're not getting the most out of your body, the end of that 6 months, 3 weeks, whatever that time period, you're going to be bigger, faster, stronger than you would have. Like we've all felt, man, it's cold, my body hurts. I got 60% today. Oh man, I ran high rocks this weekend. I got like 70% today. But if I can train harder, 90, giving it 90, 95, 100 every day, that's where we optimize this training. That's where we optimize the supplement. So phosphatidic acid connects 2 pathways and starts cranking up that dial and flipping the switch. It stimulates our mTOR pathway, and yeah, it's utilizing amino acids in a more efficient and more direct route, so we can grow, muscle-wise, and recover. That's how we have to look at it.
Got it. So it's something that allows us to put in more volume. It's something that is going to help us repair faster so that we can back up that effort day in and day out. So for, if you're looking for strength gains, if you're looking to improve endurance and you're doing something that's high repetition, this is something that you would recommend that those endurance athletes, CrossFit athletes, people that are training 2 to 3 hours a day take in order to repair faster?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to put it in a category of endurance or strength. I want to put it in a category of if you're serious about your training, you're doing a lot of the nutrition, the water, the sleep that we tout, that we promote, right? The lifestyle. And you need that extra edge. You want another 10%. You want to perform optimally on a very high level. It's not just CrossFit, run, bike, swim. It's whether it's bodybuilder or Ironman, if my output is exceeding my recovery level, this is for you. And you're checking those boxes. Does that make sense? PA7 triggers, I made a note here to remind myself perfectly. It triggers protein synthesis. So if I can synthesize protein, amino acids more efficiently to get them to the soft tissue that I need repair to get stronger and bigger, PA7 is for you.
Got it. And the protocol with PA7 is taking it before your workout, 30 minutes to 1 hour prior to daily workout or training session. Seems like that's important to take it before the workout.
Yeah, we want to get it in there before the workout. There's a couple schools of thought. Dr. Wilson put it out. Putting it before in that PA7 that you have. It's 5 pills pre-training, 30 to 60 minutes. They've done some studies on empty stomach or something on your stomach. We just don't want a huge meal, meaning I want that to absorb and get broken down so I can use it. If you need a piece of toast, a shake, or something small, like not putting pills on an empty stomach, then that would be fine. But don't eat a hefty meal within an hour or two of consuming, and because all that blood's going to go to break that down. So we just want breakdown of nutrient. So yeah,
Got it.
Yeah, think of like the chocolate chip. He does an analogy, a chocolate chip cookie analogy. So I've got all the eggs and milk and flour and sugar and all this stuff, but I only have enough chocolate chips to make 12 cookies, right? So if I don't have the chocolate chips, I got sugar cookies. So now I've got enough with PA7 to flip all the switches, make 2 batches of cookies, and to make specific chocolate chip cookies. So the output, I've got everything flipped, I got everything moving in that direction, and we're going to make chocolate chip cookies.
Gotcha. The more chocolate chip cookies, the better.
The better.
Awesome. I think we're good.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna post the Beet one today, and then I'll post the PA7 one here in the next week or so.
Was it? Did I